Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. We are live from Youngstown Studios in downtown Youngstown, Ohio. Today we are going to do the baseball region of our Ultimate Sports Movie bracket. But before we do that, we have some local teams in the state and regional playoffs here for basketball. So I want to give them a quick shout out. So first of all, congratulations to South Range. They lost on Saturday, but they were down 24-4 in the second quarter, came back to within 1 point and fell just short to making it to state. So congratulations to them on a great season. The McDonald girls basketball team is 23-2, and they will be playing in the state Final Four in Dayton on Thursday. It is a 2 p.m. tip versus Waterford, so wanted to wish Coach Matisse and the McDonald girls best of luck on Thursday, representing our area. We have a bunch of boys teams in action this week, a lot of them tonight. We have Struthers, who is 25-0, taking on Akron St. Vincent St. Mary. We have the Cheney Cowboys taking on Gilmore Academy. And if both of those teams, it's going to be a tough matchup for both of them. I think Cheney's got the better matchup, but if Struthers and Cheney can both win, I believe they play each other in the next round to go to as a regional final. We also have Cardinal Mooney taking on Lutheran East. We have Springfield taking on Norwayne. Bristol taking on Richmond, and Warren JFK taking on Lucas. So just wanted to give a quick shout out and wish those boys teams and girls teams congratulations up to this point in the season, but keep it going if you can, and best of luck tonight and the rest of this week. So with that said, I'm going to transition now over to our baseball sports movie bracket. I did a couple of Zoom calls. The first segment's going to be a lot of fun. It is going to be sort of a fictional fantasy baseball draft with a lot of characters in these movies. So take a look over at that, and we'll see you on the other side.
Okay, we are back for our second segment now. We're going to do some movie mashups. We are going to show you our bracket. We'll talk about our bracket. We have a bunch of different things we're going to talk about too. Movies that aren't on this bracket that didn't make the list. We're going to do some major league comparisons, and we'll have some other fun things mixed in here along the way. So Edgar, Brett, and Greg are back for this part. We are going to go through and do our movie mashups again. So Edgar, I'm going to start with you on the first one, and we'll go through it right now. So I'm going to bring this up on my screen. If it loads for me. All right, here we go. All right, first one, a Martin Scorsese. Oh, and Edgar, this is a boxing meets baseball. A Martin Scorsese movie depicting the life of Jake LaMotta, whose violence and temper inside the ring made him a great boxer, destroyed his life outside of it, meets a fan who has an affair with one minor league baseball player each season, meets an up-and-coming pitcher and the experienced catcher assigned to him.
Wow.
The first movie, I think Jake LaMotta looks an awful lot like Ricky Moscow. If that helps you out.
Oh, wow.
If you don't know it, we can pass to
Draw a
Frank.
blank. Draw a blank.
All right, we'll go to Franklin.
Is this Raging Bull Durham?
It is very
All
good.
right.
Raging Bull Durham.
Honestly, it's weird. The description of Bull Durham, I wasn't picking up on it right away. I had to think about it for a second. But Raging Bull just kind of made sense.
All right, very good. I'm gonna have this one loaded before I do the screen share this time. All right, so this one is to Brett. Here we go. Okay, Brett. Thomas Ian Nicholas, who grows up to be the kid in the American Pie series, plays Henry Gardenhoser, Rosengarten, in this 1993 movie has an accident, but miraculously gives a boy an incredibly powerful pitching arm. He becomes a major league pitcher for the Chicago Cubs. Funky butt lovin' meets Jack Black and Michael Cera after they are banished from the tribe. Two hunter-gatherers encounter biblical characters and eventually wind up in the city of Sodom.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I know that latter movie. But the name, it's one of two things, but I think it's either obviously Rookie of the Year 0 or Rookie of the Year 1. I think it's year 1.
You are correct. Rookie of the Year 1.
All right.
Very good.
I feel like I'm stealing Greg's thunder. He's usually on top of these better than I am.
Oh, you're good. Oh, great.
All good. It's all good.
That's good. You haven't even gave him a shot yet. So Greg is up on this one. All right, Greg. This one. A TV series and a movie. A couple of Walters steal the show in this one. A high school chemistry teacher diagnosed with inoperable lung cancer turns to manufacturing and selling methamphetamine in order to secure his family's future, meets Walter Matthau, an aging, down on his luck ex-minor leaguer, coaches a team of misfits in an ultra-competitive California Little League.
That's Breaking Bad News Bears.
That is very good. Very good. I had to bring out a couple TV series.
I think that's okay.
I've never watched it. I've never watched an episode of Breaking Bad, believe it.
Oh, just, do yourself a favor. We
Yeah.
will auto draft for you like we were doing with Doug, and just go.
Just go now. Go now. Watch it now.
You can binge at least 3 seasons today.
Honestly, one of the, like, for a non-subscription, like a regular cable TV show, probably the best I've ever seen.
That's what you hear a lot of that with that show, definitely.
So good. All right, Mr. Moscow, we are back to you. You're each going to get 2 in this one. Lindsay is stuck in the middle of her relationship with Ben, who is also a late night talk show host, and his passion for the Sox, meets Anna Kendrick, Brittany Snow, and Rebel Wilson. Edgar, I know you know this last one.
He's got to get this. He's got to get this.
Come on.
Is it Fever Pitch Perfect?
That is correct.
You got it. Yeah.
Fever Pitch Perfect. I was saving that one for you.
Oh, nice.
All right, I love it. All right, here we go. Mr. Franklin. We'll do one more each, and then we'll do we'll finish out with some at the end. All right, Franklin. A middle-aged unknown comes seemingly out of nowhere to become a legendary baseball player with his trusty Wonder Boy to become a star. Meets an Oliver Stone 1994 movie starring a former Cheers bartender. I believe you mentioned this movie.
I did. I absolutely did. I'm going to just stop you now. It's The Natural Born Killers.
That is correct. I'm going to finish out the line just for the
Yeah.
But starring a former Cheers bartender and a former child of Clark W. Griswold in this action crime drama. So yes, The Natural Born Killers. Very good. You are on top of that one early. All right, and last one we'll do in this segment. We'll do another one at the end. Greg, this one, and I think you'll know this one. All right. A young boy is bequeathed the ownership of the Minnesota Twins and takes over as manager while in middle school. Meet Sean Connery in an alternative Victorian age world. A group of famous contemporary fantasy, science fiction, and adventure characters team up on a secret mission.
Yeah, this is a good one. It's going to be a mouthful. It's a Little Big League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Very good. Little of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Some of these were hard, but to put together, like even if you haven't seen them, but you can always mash up things. You just got to make them sound.
Sometimes if you can get that, like at least one of them, you can
Yeah.
figure out. Like in this, like that first one, like Raging Bull Durham, like
Yeah.
if you can figure that out, you can kind of get some things. But
Yeah, because I've never seen League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, so it was kind of like, yeah, you just kind of.
You're not missing much. It's okay. It's Sean Connery, so it's kind of probably why I ventured into it. But you're not missing much.
All right, let's go through this baseball region. And before we like get into each movie, let's talk about first the movies that we don't see here. So I have a huge list here, probably of at least 20 different movies.
Yeah, I've got at least 2 right off the top of my head.
So
But anyway,
why don't we just go down like Franklin, why don't you just go ahead and tell me a movie that you don't see on here that you think maybe should be on?
61.
Okay.
Like definitively, I like looking at some of these. Like to me, it's certainly better than a handful of these. Oh, this is a really tough list, but that was a really good movie about Roger Maris, essentially, and kind of the season that they went through and with the home run record. So yeah, that one, and then the other one too, and it's actually not that great of a movie, so I'm not surprised it's there, but it's just was Mr. Baseball.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Greg, any off the top of your head that you don't see on this list?
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess I know we talked a little bit about Mr. 3000 too. That's not on here, but nothing. I think Franklin, I'd forgotten about 61. That is a great movie. That was like an HBO movie, I think.
Was it? Okay, I forget what it was, but I just do remember.
Barry Pepper, underrated actor. Barry Pepper, I think, played Roger Maris.
Yeah, he was in what was it? Saving Private Ryan. He was a sniper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Billy Crystal produced it.
That's right. Yep. But yeah, nothing else jumped off the page.
So let me just go through just a couple of. I'm not going to go through each of these lists, but something that stood out to me when you go and research a lot of baseball movies, there were a ton in the early part of the 20th century. So like, I'm talking like 1940s to about like 1960 was a major time for Hollywood.
I got one off the top of my head now.
Okay, go ahead.
The Pride of the Yankees.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, good one, Ed. I was forgetting about that too.
That's the first one on my list. That movie actually came out in 1942. So, that's right in that wheelhouse here. Another one that's very popular amongst like baseball, in the baseball world it's called Bang the Drum Slowly. That's one I haven't seen, so I can't really comment on it, but I know a lot of people that's highly acclaimed. Franklin, we talked off air about the bingo. It's called the Bingo Long Traveling All-Stars and Motor. I believe that was based on the Negro Leagues and what they kind of went through. There's a movie called Fear Strikes Out. It happens every spring. Those movies were 1957 and 1949, respectively. The Phenom, which is more recent, that was a 2016 movie. A lot of these movies, you'll notice too, and I think it's kind of in pop culture why the Yankees still are either loved or hated. A lot of these movies are based around the New York Yankees. So, I think that has a lot to do with a big reason of why they have a huge contingent around the country of, they're either loved or they're hated. There's literally a movie called The Damn Yankees, 1958. There was a documentary. I didn't put it on this list because it was a documentary, but it's called Up for Grabs. It was about Barry Bonds breaking the home run record of Hank Aaron to become the all-time, and the Up for Grabs, the home run ball. Fear Strikes Out, Sugar, Off the Black, Brewster's Millions. Some people consider a baseball movie, so that was one on there. Another one highly regarded in the baseball world is called Ball Player, and I think it's Polero or it is something along those lines. I've never seen it, so I can't comment on it. But that was on the list. The Pride of St. Louis and Hardball were the ones that and Hardball's another that's another Keanu Reeves movie.
Oh yeah.
Kind of revolves around baseball in that one. So those are some of the movies that are not on this bracket. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go through this bracket here. We'll talk about the movies, and we'll sort of comment on each of them. So let's start first with our movies, and we'll just start at the top with the 1 and 16 seed. We got Major League. Major League came out in 1989, which I'm just going to read very brief plot points, but the new owner of the Cleveland Indians puts together a purposely horrible team so they can lose and she can move the team to Miami. But when the plot is uncovered, they start winning just to spite her. So, anyone that lives in Ohio has probably seen Major League. And then this movie, 8 Men Out, the 16 seed, came out in 1988, so a year before Major League. A dramatization of the Black Sox scandal when the underpaid Chicago White Sox accepted bribes to deliberately lose the 1919 World Series. So, I guess just we'll start up there. And again, these movies, 1989, 1988, you're going to see a little bit of a theme here that there was a big run of baseball movies from the late 80s to the early to mid 90s. So we'll get through that we'll talk about that as we go. But I guess, Edgar, you're wearing the Indians gear. We'll let you lead off. What do you think about, Major League or 8 Men Out?
I mean, this honestly is just like a March Madness 1 versus 16. I don't see 8 Men Out even remotely getting a chance to win this one. I mean, Major League's like the epitome of all baseball movies, in my opinion. And being an Indians fan, you can't go wrong without it. So
I think it's just that. Yeah, obviously, we grew up during this time. I would say a lot of us, this is probably the first R-rated movie we ever saw. I think it was probably the first I ever saw. And it's about the Indians. It's legendary. It holds up today. Probably could have done without, maybe they probably could have taken the Jake and Lynn story down 15-20 minutes and put more baseball in it. But I mean, come on, it's an all-time classic. It's it's one of the most quoted movies of all time. And yeah, it's going to make its way very far in this bracket, as we know, especially with the group of with the demographic is going to be doing a lot of the voting. But I mean, we could go on forever on Major League, and it's a top deep dive candidate, no doubt.
Yeah. So I mean, I've got a couple of things. So first, it's not necessarily about Major League, but this is a little tidbit that I was telling Greg the other day. I was so excited to bring up. So 8 Men Out. Do you know who stars as Shoeless Joe? D.B. Sweeney. He was in The Cutting Edge as well.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
So he was in both of these movies. So it was just kind of like, we had talked about guys who had been playing different roles and other things, but he definitely got one here. This was about his like little heyday. He really kind of fell off after around this time. But kind of like expand on Greg's point too. I think a lot of what we're going to be looking at specifically with Major League that isn't going to be showing up really anywhere else, because I don't even think draft day is going to be able to do it, is the Northeast Ohio, the Cleveland Indians. And this was during that time where they were just so awful. But shortly after is when they really started picking up. There was only 94, 93, things started kind of, you could see the change and everything. Mm-hmm. And then 94, everything started coming out, new stadium, everything. And so I think the Major League is going to resonate with people in this area more than a lot of other movies are going to resonate. I do wonder, though, say if this was in Boston, say something like Fever Pitch would have a higher seating based off of the voting and stuff like that. It is curious as to wonder about that, but I think Major League's I think it's going to do really well. Looking at it, I think it might be one of the stronger number one seeds we have.
Yeah. You could argue it could be the number one overall
Yeah, I would agree with that too. And I do think the one that could give it a little run for money, I don't think it could take it out, but I do think the Sandlot in the Elite Eight essentially could really kind of make it a close matchup because we all love the Sandlot. So I think the two iconic movies there, if it did come about, because Sandlot would definitely still have to go up against A League of Their Own possibly as well. But I do think I think that would be an interesting matchup down the road.
Okay.
Real quick, with the premise of 8 Men Out being about the scandal of the Black Sox in 1919, is Shoeless Joe Jackson in the Hall of Fame? Does anyone know?
I think
I
that
don't
he
think-
is. I thought he might be, but we can look that up.
Yeah, that's what
I
Google's
only-
for, isn't it?
Is because they took bribes to lose the 1919 World Series, but yet that Major League Baseball won't let Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's my.
I don't know if
argument.
Shoeless Joe is in though.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now to see because I know. No, I guess he's not. I guess he's not. He's in the Cleveland Indians Hall of Fame. So hey, we let him in.
No, yeah, he doesn't. He does not have a plaque.
Yeah, there's some kind of controversy on Shoeless Joe Jackson's part in the scandal because again I don't have the stats in front of me, but I believe he hit extremely high average in that World Series, and
He did it again. Yeah,
He
everything he did in that World Series was against the numbers what everyone else was doing.
yeah,
And so there's belief that he didn't have really a part of it, or that he may have known about it. And that could be possibly the reason he knew about it. He just didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
But he still worked it. So I'm with you. I think for a long time, not to get too much on a tangent, but I've a long time ago I thought, Pete Rose, he did what he did and he deserves what he gets. But at this point, I actually think he deserves it too.
Agreed. Okay, real quick question for you guys. Since the Indians, the Indians had a long, run of being a really bad baseball team. So they kind of cast the Indians as like the down and out team, the like lovable loser type team. And you can't say that about the Indians now. I mean, they've really, they've made the playoffs the last, 5 of the last 6 years.
Since 94, for being a small market team, they've been actually probably one of the best teams out there in record wise. They definitely had their down years. Like there was a little struggle there for maybe a good 6-7 years, but for the most part, yeah, I think they've been probably one of the more consistently good teams.
So let me ask this: who, if they were making this movie now, who would portray that lovable loser team? Do you guys think?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the top of my
probably
head,
the Pirates.
yeah,
Pirates. Yeah.
I would think the Pirates. If you would have asked this question maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, I probably maybe would have considered like maybe Milwaukee, because they can never seem to get over the hump. But the Pirates have just been bad for a while.
True. Yeah. Okay.
You're going off the premise of being bad and then now being consistently good. I would say the Cubs.
Okay.
The Cubs.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Let's go on to our next movie here, our next matchup. And we're going to go straight down the bracket. So we got the number 8 seed Moneyball. And the cool thing about these movies, they were made 2 years from each other. So Moneyball, the number 8 seed, 2011, Oakland A's general manager Billy Beane's successful attempt to assemble a baseball team on a lean budget by employing computer-generated analytics to acquire new players. So that's the basic plot of Moneyball. And then
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all right. And then the number 9 seed, we have 42. 42, in 1947, Jackie Robinson becomes the first African-American to play in Major League Baseball in the modern era when he was signed by the Brooklyn Dodgers and faces considerable racism in the process. So those are the two basic plots of those movies. I guess just thoughts on these.
Are these are our two newest movies, correct? The newest baseball movies we have, I believe, right?
I'm looking right now on the bracket.
Yeah, on this bracket. I know you mentioned like the
I think
Phenom
so.
was 2016, but
They are.
yeah, I mean we can dive into it a little later afterwards. But you mentioned dates and stuff like that. I think that kind of shows you where baseball is in the mindset a little bit. Just with these two, they're 6, 7 years, 8 years old, wherever it may be. I do think 42 is kind of rated a little low though.
Yeah.
Like I like Moneyball. I think Moneyball is appropriately placed. I thought 42 was a pretty good movie. I would have expected higher, but I mean this is a baseball, as we said the other day, baseball is going to be a really tough bracket too. And so, but I feel like 42 could have been a little bit higher.
Yeah, I love Moneyball. And again, the 42 story, it's a storyline, and 42 clearly is, it's probably maybe the best storyline of any movie that we have, in a real life story. Moneyball is clearly a little bit of a fabricated, version of the story. I think they ignore the fact that there were a lot of really good players on the Oakland A's that are not in that movie. Like,
Yeah.
They had Mark Mulder and Tim Hudson and Eric Chavez, and Billy Koch, and none of those guys are in it. And they act like Scott Hatterberg is like the guy that like the best, the guy that leads the team to the promise.
Forgot Zito too.
Forgot who?
Barry Zito.
Barry Zito.
That's right. Yeah.
To be fair, Greg, too, you next to Kevin Costner, Matt Damon's got not Matt Damon.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, Brad Pitt's got a little special place with you in terms of movies and stuff, and I think him being in this, you like a lot of Brad Pitt movies. We know that I do too. So.
Yeah, he's really him and Jonah Hill are really phenomenal.
Yeah, they do well in this movie. Like I said, I really do think Moneyball. I thought Moneyball was perfect place. I think you think it might be a little bit higher. I'd imagine. Okay.
Yeah. I
guess it's not. There's so many good movies. It's hard to say it's hard to be like, oh, I jump it above anything that's above it.
Yeah.
But it's just like kind of, I think I've just caught myself rewatching Moneyball a lot over the years. And I think it's just because it's really made its rounds on cable, but you get sucked into that, I guess we're all baseball nerds at heart, right? So you kind of do get stuck into that. You get caught up in that side of it, and it's just interesting. It's an interesting movie, and it's not, obviously most of that movie is played off of the field. So
okay, yeah, and
like with this matchup, I feel like they're placed perfectly, but they're also two movies that they're actually real. Like the concept is real.
Right.
Like you said, Greg, Moneyball may be a little bit fabricated, but I mean, 42, I mean, that actually happened. I mean, he broke the color barrier of Major League Baseball. And other than, I think, A League of Their Own, which is, I mean, that actually happened also. I mean, all these movies those three movies are real.
Right. Well, and then we have another one coming up too, The Rookie.
yeah.
We'll
Okay.
But interesting fact here, Jackie Robinson, there was actually a movie made while he was playing, and he portrayed himself in the movie. I don't know, I don't know the year, but I believe it was the year after he won the National League MVP, and he portrayed himself in the movie. So, and this is more of a modern day take on this. So with Chadwick Boseman playing the main character here. So just both of them awesome movies. And anybody that's a Cleveland Browns fan too, I'll have to, they have the analytics scheme that they kind of do right now in Berea, but I may, and somebody can fact check me on this, but I think John D. Podesta might have something to do with the movie Moneyball, with the Oakland A's.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the Jonah Hill's character is Paul D. Podesta.
Oh, Paul D. Podesta.
That's not his name. Yeah, Paul D. Podesta. You're absolutely right. He portrays him, but for whatever reason, DePodesta didn't want his name to be used in the movie, so they created this fake name. But that is actually, so you're spot on.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So yeah, I mean, so that shows you anybody that's a Browns fan, what these guys did worked. And the cool thing about football is everybody's on a level playing field with money. So, you can kind of do more with you can do more with more in the NFL. All right, let's move on to the five.
Yeah, I mean, just
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Franklin. Go ahead.
so no, I was just saying you just need to have the right people in place to be able to handle it. You have someone who, yeah, they can follow Billy Bean and kind of in the mindset of what he did. That's great. But if you have someone who just tries to casually handle it, like we've seen, like you just mentioned with the Browns and some like with whatever his name was a few years back, like it could be a disaster.
Right. Yes.
So it just you gotta have the right people in place to be able to handle it.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. All right, let's move on to the 5-12 matchup, and I think this is a really good 5-12 matchup. Um, it's the Sandlot versus the Rookie. So let's start with number 5 seed, the Sandlot. Again, 1993. So right in that wheelhouse of baseball movies. In the summer of 1962, a new kid is taken under the wing of a young baseball prodigy and his rowdy team, resulting in many adventures. We know the basic plot. I think anybody that's probably our age, we're all in our late 30s. I think anybody probably 45 or younger has probably seen the Sandlot at some point in their life. And then we have the Rookie, which is based on a Texas coach who makes the major leagues after agreeing to try out if his high school team made the playoffs. This is based on a true story. And again, it's a Disney movie, but made in a dramatical sense. It's a pretty quality movie. So both pretty good solid movies here. The Sandlot, kind of just one of those movies that if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. But some people love it, some people like it. It's one of those. So thoughts on this matchup here?
I mean, I feel like Sandlot hits home for me personally. Like growing up, I mean, baseball's my favorite sport. So like growing up in the summertime, we had enough kids in our neighborhood that we played baseball, every single night out in the circle, and with a tennis ball. So I mean, I I feel like this movie's going to go a long way just from the rewatchable ability. I
Yeah.
mean, the Rookie has a great story, but like we said before in all these brackets, the rewatch. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
back,
I do think like I thought Dennis Quaid played that role pretty well in the Rookie. Actually, like these ones, it's sometimes it's like it can be really hit and miss. And I thought they played that pretty well. But like Ed just said, it's thinking about like us as kids, like playing baseball in a front yard. Now I didn't have as many kids as you guys had in your neighborhoods. We definitely had a handful. We were able to field like we'd usually play 3-on-3, something like that. And I remember if it our home run line was we played with tennis balls. We'd go down to Boardman High School, which was a 10-minute walk for me. We'd go down to that tennis court, take tennis balls from there and bring them back. And then if it went over the electrical lines, that was a home run.
Oh yeah.
But you
I
can
mean,
still catch it. If it got caught, you're still out. If it
all of us here, we played backyard baseball at Bowman Park with a tennis
oh
ball.
yeah, I was going to
Played
get
it
to
when
that
we were in
next too.
college. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if it hit the telephone pole, it was a grand slam, even though you only played with 3 people. So it was a lot of it was just a lot of fun, and it reminds me of that. And then even like as Ed just said, us playing baseball during college, we'd go literally to the park and play on the field, and I always pitched because I couldn't really do anything else well. So I was the pitcher. It does remind me. So I think we've talked about, Ed brought it up too, that rewatchability, but in this instance, that sentimental kind of mindset that a handful of these movies brings out. I think Sandlot it does that, and that's why I said I think that's the one movie I think on that side of the bracket that can give Major League a little run for its money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the dreaded tough matchup for the Rookie. I know I echo everything that was said on the Sandlot and all the memories that tugs on. The Rookie's a really great movie, and it really and of all the movies on here, with For Love of the Game and Field of Dreams probably notwithstanding, the Rookie will probably make you cry every time you watch it. Just it's got because it's well done. And like you said, Brad, Dennis Quaid is really really good in this movie. And it's well done, but it's gonna bow out gracefully in the first round. But a plug that's a really great movie for anybody who hasn't seen it. It's a good family movie.
Yeah. I think this bracket is just, it's also, I think Brett made a good point last week when we were talking about basketball movies. It not necessarily it's not going to be the winner of this bracket, but it might get someone interested that might not otherwise watch the movie. And I think that's part of what we're doing here. We're not doing deep dives on these movies. We might do that on individual movies in the future, but to give some talking points and to give some highlights and some nostalgia, for me, The Sandlot is far and above, a movie that I'm gonna take or watch over The Rookie anytime. But they're both, doesn't mean The Rookie is not an excellent movie. So yeah, to me, like all you guys have said, playing baseball outside as a kid, we can all relate to that. I feel like just about every kid grows up playing little league of some sort, and has, we can all relate to playing baseball with our friends, or whatever, even if it's not baseball, wiffle ball in the backyard or whatever it might be, hitting tennis balls over power lines, just stuff like that. It all echoes, and this movie was based in the 60s, and a lot of those people, in that era, that's what, there's no internet, there's no things to do, and even when we were growing up, internet was just barely a small thought. So we were outside just doing random shit. We weren't necessarily like on a tablet or on the computer all the time or stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean, those were our summers. Like it wasn't about sitting inside on devices or video game stuff like that. It was, you got up, you went outside, and you're outside all day long during summertime. It was a blast. You look at it now, you're like, there's issues with childhood obesity, stuff like that. Not to get too far into that, but I feel like part of that is why we have
separate podcast.
Yeah, different podcast, different thing. Not going any further than that, but yeah.
Very good. I think we've, any last thoughts on either of those movies?
No.
Okay.
Landslide.
I agree with that. I do think that I think this could be a little bit of a mismatch for The Rookie. I think it may get handled pretty easily here.
I agree. And then these next two movies, they're going to face off against the winner. I'm going to guess it's going to be The Sandlot, and this is going to be an intriguing, I think, second round matchup. But we have A League of Their Own, which, again, look at the year, 1992. Two sisters join the first female professional baseball league and struggle to help it succeed. It admits their own growing rivalry. So you got Kit and you got Dottie. Dottie's the superior player in Scout's eyes. Just such an awesome movie. To me, this is more of a comedy with some, real heartfelt drama moments in it. But it has legit good baseball in it for, for the time it was made, for being a women's professional baseball league. And I think this is a movie that, I think, if you have a daughter or if you have like females in your life, this is a movie they're going to want to watch. But this is a movie for anybody, though. It's got like a ton of staying power. This is a movie I think I can watch anytime. I mean, I freaking dressed up like Jimmy Dugan for Halloween this year. So that shows you some of the staying power. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And then we got the Bad News Bears that's going against at number 13. And this is not the remake. This is the original Bad News Bears, 1976, where an aging, down on his luck ex-minor leaguer coaches a team of misfits in an ultra-competitive California Little League. So overall, Greg, you want to lead off on this one? So overall thoughts on either A League of Their Own or The Bad News Bears?
Yeah, I mean, A League of Their Own is a classic. It's an absolute classic, and it's deserving of being where it's at. And like you said, it's a great movie. It's hilarious. It has its funny parts. It has its serious parts. It's Tom Hanks, obviously, is an all timer. But this is like one of, it's okay. Maybe it's not maybe it's not his greatest role of all time, clearly, but this is a great Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
It just shows Tom Hanks can do anything. Tom Hanks can do serious. He can do funny. It's just a really well done movie, directed by Penny Marshall too. And it's just, one of my all time favorites. The Bad News Bears, I've only seen it like once or twice, and I know it's really good. But I think again, this is a tough matchup. And it's going against a real juggernaut here with League of Their Own.
Yeah, Bad News Bear. I think that's another one. I think maybe a little low for what it was. I think a lot of that has to do with recency bias, though, which is weird because usually we think of the most recent things, but that was well before many of us came about. So it doesn't ring a bell for a lot of people. It's just kind of in the back of of many's heads. I do, like Greg said, I think this is a really good Tom Hanks role, more or less because this is the first time I recall him being a dick. like he's just kind of an asshole, and like he doesn't play those roles often. So like to Greg's point, like having it kind of shows his little diversity in how he can play some stuff. And I think
he does show his soft side in that movie, though.
Yeah, he does. It's not like he's just an asshole the entire time, but he has those moments where it's like, oh God, you're kind of a jerk.
Yeah. He's kind of like a likable asshole in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And he has really good, obviously history, but he has really good chemistry with Gina Davis in this movie. And I think that really there are a lot of really cool moments between the two of them, like the one when they're on the bus and she doesn't let him drink and he drinks the Coke and he's just their banter, it really goes a long way in this movie. And she is phenomenal, and she is absolutely 100% believable as the best, forget male, female, one of the best baseball players we've ever seen. I mean, you truly believe it when you watch that movie.
Yeah. And actually, it's great. You made a point earlier about Major League and a little too much of the love story that went on. In this instance, you didn't have one.
Yeah.
But you had a nice interaction, I think, and that is a little refreshing, to not have to throw in that extra love story to kind of wrap around something. I think that actually is what makes this movie a little bit better than some of these others.
So, like with this movie, again, the league actually existed. The women's professional baseball league. And after we drafted our fantasy fictional teams, Dottie Henson, her actual name is Dottie Green, and her character actually exists. That's who she portrays, Dottie. So,
okay.
Is my pick eligible still?
We'll count it.
Yeah. Yes.
It counts, dude. It counts.
If the Whammer counts, then Dottie Henson counts.
Yeah, no doubt. Just a real quick note, a couple things. My favorite character in this movie is not a baseball player at all. It is John Lovett's character.
Yes.
And it's just a good 3-4 minutes of straight off the cuff, just quick one-liners. He's phenomenal.
He is horribly underrated in this movie. He gets overlooked by a lot of people. But he had such a good role.
Mm-hmm. And you got Madonna at her peak, and I think she even sings like the lead song for the movie, in the title sequence. I'm not a Rosie O'Donnell fan, but she plays a good character in this movie, and a ton of just other really good. Is it Bill Pullman? Is Dottie's And they're
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
good actors and actresses.
It was cast really well. And and it seems like the kind of how they all got along with each other. Like even if there was anything off scene, behind the scenes, like it didn't show. And they seem to have like a genuine like kind of connection through the movie even.
Right.
Mhm.
One miscast. Older kid. Is
Oh,
probably the worst actress I've ever seen in my life. But otherwise, they pretty much nailed it. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But
Okay.
the older kid at the end of the movie is fucking horrible. Like,
hey, I mean, if you're hitting 900, you're still pretty good.
yes,
Let's be
yes.
real.
Good point. Good point. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the 314 matchup. We got the Natural. The Natural came out in 1984. A middle-aged unknown comes seemingly out of nowhere to become a legendary baseball player with an almost super talent. And number 14, Little Big League, 1994. A young boy is basically handed over the ownership of a professional baseball team after his grandfather passes away. So just another couple really, really good movies here. But one clearly better than the other.
Yes.
I think The Little Big League is one of those movies people either really like it, maybe haven't seen, or don't really care too much about. To me, it was sort of right in our wheelhouse there, 12, 13 years old. And like Greg said, kind of like Rookie of the Year, who we'll talk about in a minute. So to me, this is a no contest here. But The Natural, the best thing for me about The Natural is you don't even have to have seen the movie and you know the song from the movie. You know the score. So that's all I got to say about those two matchups.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the natural is going to be the clear cut favorite and winner, I think. I mean, Roy Hobbs hitting the freaking light bulb. That's and if I'm correct, if I'm wrong, was it lightning? Did lightning strike when he hit the light bulb?
No, I think it just
Everything just kind of
Or
exploded.
everything shattered? Okay.
I mean, that might have started. Did that start the idea of playing firework? Of shooting off fireworks when somebody hits a home run? I feel like the movie started a lot of things. And yeah, go ahead, Ed. But that was,
No, Ed, I mean, Greg, you might be right. I have no idea. But Ed, yeah, no, I mean, that point of the movie, that scene, that is probably, to me, when I think of like a sports movie, that is actually one of my iconic like scenes. It it's so memorable. And I am not a fan. I do not care for fireworks. I do not care for exploding stuff. I don't have a fear of them. I just find them boring. But that I loved. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was such a great part of the movie, especially for what was happening to him at the time. I thought it was such a big thing. Now, Justin mentioned Little Big League and kind of around that 12, 13-year-old kind of time frame for us. I hated this movie. I really did. I hated the movie. I've seen this movie one time and I've never gone back to it. I found it boring. I just did not find anything appealing about it. To me, Rookie of the Year was definitely between the two of them. When you look at it, it was far, far superior.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, I will try to keep my natural comments down. I could probably go on for a half hour, but this is, and I think you can only do, and maybe I'm wrong. I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on this. I think you can only do this with baseball, like make this type of movie, because it's baseball as something bigger. Baseball is something effectively supernatural, right? There's a lot of just, there's a lot of kind of, you can get down a lot of internet rabbit holes on all the King Arthur kind of ideas here, but the idea that there is, baseball, there's some magic. Baseball is a magic kind of romantic sport. And, there are supernatural factors at play. And obviously you see it with Field of Dreams as well, but it's legendary. And Robert Redford as Roy Hobbs to be, to be believable in that character, obviously you have to have somebody that you like, all right, this guy legitimately could be, he can't be like a guy that just looks like the greatest athlete in the world, because then it sort of takes away the mystery of it. Redford plays it just so well. And it's a wonderful movie. It just really,
it is.
gives
And
you all the chills. And there's so many, when you watch it, there's so many, there's so many famous actors in it. Like Robert Duvall is, he could have been your sports writer too. He was the sports writer in the movie. Kim Basinger, you got one of our favorites. What the heck's his name? The guy that was, he was in Mrs. Doubtfire. He was he is the Lundy. He was Lundy in Doubtfire. He's in
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah.
Natural. I could also go 5 minutes on the draft. I think the concept of DraftKings and FanDuel may have actually started through The Natural, because there's actually a scene where this guy, and it's the guy that played the dad in Christmas Story, who's in this movie as well, talks about Roy Hobbs that day. He said, "I bet on you today," and you beat me. And they kind of go on for a couple minutes about, oh, you can bet on one day. Yeah, you can bet on one day. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think, to kind of expand on your point a little bit, Greg, that like the thing with baseball that's different than the other ones is, one, obviously, you have the opposite. You're throwing a ball to an offense. You're giving the ball to an offense from the defensive perspective, which doesn't happen in any other sport. The other thing too, though, is while it's a team sport, it's very individualistic. You look at the stats, everybody, the way everything's kept, you hitting the ball, while it does affect you, but you're the only one hitting the ball. Basketball, it's about the passing, it's about moving the ball around, making sure, setting up defenses, or you're setting up your offense in certain positions, stuff like that. Football, obviously, very the same way. And so baseball, while it is that very, it's weird, but it's a very individualistic but team sport. And so having that sort of like, you can have that character that supersedes and overcomes all this stuff and becomes that superstar, unlike any of the other sports. And I think that it's not the reason why we love baseball, but I think it is why we love some of these baseball movies, because you do see that often, much like when you think of The Rookie, The Sandlot, like that the individual players and how they're able to, even in times of being up with poor competition or with poor teammates or just not a good team, they're still able to succeed. So,
yeah. Last point on this, Edgar, you had mentioned the lightning or whatever. I believe at the beginning of the movie, a tree is struck by lightning, and that's where the bat has its origin story. So I just wanted to, put a bow on that one. All right. Let's go on to the 6. We have 3 more matchups left. Let's go to the 6-11 seed. You got Bull Durham here in the number 6 seed, filmed in 1988, and the 11 seed, Rookie of the Year in 1993. So in Bull Durham, the basic premise is a fan who has an affair with one minor league baseball player each season, meets an up-and-coming pitcher and the experienced catcher assigned to him. We'll talk about those actors in a minute. And then Rookie of the Year, 1993, a similar movie to Little Big League, but I think the way better movie, just based on the acting and stuff. But anyway, when an accident miraculously gives a boy incredibly powerful pitching arm, he becomes a major league pitcher for the Chicago Cubs. So
it's a far more believable concept than becoming an owner of a team at the age of 12.
Although, do you think you break your arm and
yeah, let's be honest, neither of them are very believable.
No, I just said it's more believable. I didn't say it's completely believable.
Let me ask you guys this. Do you think throwing, maybe it's just a Chicago Cubs thing, but after this movie, do you think throwing the ball back after a home run came from this movie?
It may have. I think they'd been doing that for a while at Wrigley.
It was an NL thing for a long time. It wasn't really an AL thing. I think so. We really didn't see it much because of the Indians, but I do think it was an AL thing. or an NL thing. Sorry.
Well, and I guess there never were fans out in the field to throw it back to the Indians for
Very
most
true.
of our upbringing. So yeah, that's probably part of it too.
Except for those couple guys that were out in Major League 2 with the TP. This one, I think this one's going to be probably the closest of the matchups. I do think 42 and Moneyball can probably be pretty close as well, but I do think this is going to be, especially for 6-11, I think this is going to be really close. Because you have that with us, that nostalgia factor with Rookie of the Year, and half of our team has kind of left, and that one comes back. but yeah, I think with Rookie of the Year, there's a nostalgia for us. Like, we really enjoy it. There's things to it that are relatable for as a kid. Like, they really were. But then Bull Durham's just a good movie. It really is. And so now you're pinning up against good movie versus nostalgia. We've seen nostalgia win this, I think, a little bit more often so far. Not always, but a little bit more often. So I think Rookie of the Year might be able to pull off an upset here.
It's interesting. We're rolling it. We haven't really had any rom-coms or many rom-coms yet. I consider Bull Durham to be a rom-com over anything.
Really
good. It also is a really good kind of satire on minor league baseball too. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people in a lot of lists you'd see Bull Durham as the best baseball movie. But I think the ones, in my opinion, the ones we've rated ahead of it, I think makes sense. But it's still really, really good movie. And yeah, I think you're right. You could see this being closer than one would think. When I first looked at the bracket, I was like, oh, it's going to be Bull Durham, but yeah, you just don't know.
Yeah, again, it's just based on how we've been seeing voting, and I know how this has been like tabulated. So, yeah, for the most part, is we going to see is that the top seed wins. I think Rookie of the Year might be the one that can sneak one out here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Rookie of the Year will probably win this matchup just because of rewatchability, but I don't see it going past the second round.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
I see Bull Durham winning just based on the name alone. Bull Durham, I feel like, is one of those movies that even if you've never seen it, you know what it's about.
Yep.
And there's some great like rewatchable individual scenes and lines in that movie. Even if you haven't seen the whole movie all the way through, I feel like the common baseball fan, the average baseball fan, and like Greg said, you don't even really have to be a baseball fan. It's just like a romantic comedy, and it's just a movie you can watch even if you don't like baseball. So I think it's going to go on based on that. But Rookie of the Year's it's a good rewatchable funny movie. So
and John Candy's the announcer in Rookie of the Year, which
I forgot about that. You're right, he is.
I forget that. So he shows up again.
I mean, he doesn't pull off the Bob Uecker here.
No,
but no. You're right. He was in it. I totally forgot about that.
He's mentioned in broadcasters.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
he could be the color guy.
Exactly. All right, let's go on. We got two more matchups left. Number 7, we got For the Love of the Game, 1999. After 19 years of playing the game, he's loved his whole life. Detroit Tigers pitcher Billy Chappell has decided if he's going to risk everything and put it out there. And then number 10, one of the more recent movies on the list, even though it was still 16 years ago, number 10, Fever Pitch. Lindsay is stuck in the middle of her relationship with Ben and his passion for the Boston Red Sox. So I'm just going to give my quick 2 cents on this. I think Fever Pitch is probably the most similar to Bull Durham in the sense of it's kind of a romantic comedy as well. And then you got For the Love of the Game, which is probably, if you look up and down the list, maybe one of the more true actual baseball movies. You get to learn a lot about individual character development in this movie, and it just which is pretty cool. So I'm gonna let you guys take these two. Greg, I know for the love
I'm
of
gonna say like Greg take start this one off.
Yeah, I enjoy Fever. I mean, it's entertaining because I think a lot of it is just because Jimmy Fallon's just really entertaining. But I think again, in my opinion, For Love of the Game kind of tugs at my heartstrings, and I know we all joke about it. But Justin, you hit it on the head from a true like the baseball game within the movie is phenomenally well done. And I mean, you almost have to start with the fact that Vin Scully is calling the game. So it just immediately you're like, okay, this is a familiar voice, maybe the greatest voice to ever call baseball. And it just feels like a real ball game. And I know they used a lot of real players in the movie. Costner threw, every pitch that Billy Chappell threw was thrown by Costner. I guess for those, I won't ruin it because, if you haven't seen it, it's, you want to watch it without knowing what happens, but it's, it does get intertwined with a lot of romantic storyline with Kelly Preston. And, I think we'd all maybe say, okay, there's a little too much of that because it really is about a 50-50 movie, but it is phenomenal. It puts me in tears every time. I love it. And it's really one of my favorites on here. I mean, for me, it's Major League and For Love of the Game, but that's probably not going to be the consensus, but it's an amazing movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be very fair with Fever Pitch. I actually didn't see this until maybe about a year into dating my wife, which we didn't start dating until 2015. So I never watched. I don't know why I didn't watch it. I maybe it was the Jimmy Fallon, Drew Barrymore kind of stuff, or what was it? Drew Barrymore?
It's Drew Barrymore.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I just never really got into it, but when I watched it, it actually really wasn't that bad. Do I run back to it? No. But it wasn't a bad movie. But For Love of the Game, I think again, Justin and Greg have mentioned it, but when you think about the aspects of the game, even down to him after his recovery from when he had the accident and he cut himself, and trying to get back into the game and trying to get his everything going again, and you don't see that in a lot of these other movies. You just kind of see, going through the motions of the game. I do think they spent a lot of time on that love connection. I don't know if they really needed to tone it down or not, but it's one of those that's like the 50-50. It's not necessarily a baseball movie wrapped around a love story or a love story wrapped around baseball. They kind of coincide with each other. But I think because they incorporate so much of the daily baseball stuff and the things that we're used to, I think even if the love story is a little heavy, it doesn't come off that way.
Yeah,
I agree.
Okay.
My take on these two matchups, I don't think I've seen Fever Pitch, like the whole thing. I mean, pretty much the premise is about their relationship and for his love of the Boston Red Sox. So in my opinion, there's baseball in it and it's about the Boston Red Sox, but it's not an actual baseball movie, in my opinion. It's more about the relationship.
It's a good take.
For the Love of the Game, Greg, I know it's probably one of your favorite movies, but as an athlete, when you get hurt, you're always wondering, well, are you going to be able to make a comeback after a major injury? But it also gives you an aspect of what goes on in an athlete outside of, say, baseball, like in between days before games, which is why they call it For the Love of the Game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How many baseball players jam to Steely Dan in the car while driving down the freeway? I would love to get a poll on that.
I mean, but it's also life of the athlete too, living in hotel rooms during the season, traveling. I just feel like it gives you an actual aspect of what goes on through an athlete.
Yeah. Definitely.
and kind of how hard it is to have a personal life, right? And have a, I think it's hard when it's like, we joke and everybody's like, oh, when you're a star athlete, you can get any girl you want. It's great. But, I think there's always going to be that, like, does she love me for me? Does she love me because I'm Billy Chappell or whatever? And there was that hurdle at the beginning of the, that's like, she's like, oh my God, you're Billy Chappell. And she didn't even know baseball, but it's like,
Yep.
he's like, yeah, I am, but it's like, it's not, I'm Billy Chappell out there, but I'm a regular person out here. So that's a good point. I never really, for all the time I've seen the movie, Edgar, I really never thought of it that way, is really, because it really does. It really touches on every aspect of a kind of a ball player's career in one movie, from playing the game, from what do you do, traveling, to spring training they cover, to recovering from injuries, and ultimately dealing with the inevitable downfall of your career, which is what every athlete is going to have to deal with, and looking in the mirror and
Right.
say, is this it?
Ed, in one statement, you took Greg's love of this movie from here to the sky. Like, just one statement. I didn't think it could happen on For Love of the Game, but you did it, and that's awesome.
But we just got a text as we're talking about this movie, and Jim just said, well played on the bracket matchup between For the Love of the Game and Fever Pitch, by the way, putting Kirchner's top movie versus a sappy romantic comedy. That was well timed on the text.
On a side note too, I got a text message. Franmil Reyes and Jose Ramirez were just disciplined. They were
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that too.
Off the field issues, probably
COVID. They violated COVID.
Probably breaking.
Yeah, one went to get his hair cut, and then they went out to dinner together, and they sat inside a restaurant.
Yeah, that's life in the old days.
Yeah. That's strike two for Franmil, though.
You may not be. I mean, you may not like them. That's for sure. You may not like the rules and stuff, but they are the rules. So it's kind of like just try and follow them. But I guess, I mean, when you think about it, though, that we're just talking about For Love of the Game and they're still trying to live their own life too, at the same time.
I mean, watch For Love of the Game. If you want to have fun during spring training, just sleep with your masseuse. You don't need to go out.
All right. With that, let's move on to the last matchup here. We got the number 2 seed Field of Dreams, another Kevin Costner movie, 1989. And we have number 15, Angels in the Outfield, which came out in 1994. So Field of Dreams, Iowa farmer Ray Kinsella is inspired by a voice he can't ignore to pursue a dream he can hardly believe. Supported by his wife, Ray begins the quest by turning his ordinary cornfield into a place where dreams can come true. That is matched up against number 15, Angels in the Outfield. When a boy prays for a chance to have a family, if the California Angels win the pennant, Angels are assigned to make that possible. Now, both a little far-fetched plots, but Field of Dreams is widely considered one of the great sports movies of all time. In any sport. Angels in the Outfield, again, another Disney movie, and it shows again the age of these movies. The California Angels were then replaced by the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles, and now are those, I believe, just the LA Angels now.
Yeah.
It shows a little bit of datedness.
It is really funny that you have the only 2 movies here that are involved with the supernatural going up against each other. I do find that kind of funny. I think we've talked every now and again, I think, about the holes in Field of Dreams, but the Field of Dreams is just so damn good. It is what it is. Holes aside, it doesn't matter. They're good. Angels in the Outfield, though, it is kind of funny, like, again, looking at it now, it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Tony Danza. Like we have two potential Tony Danza people that could have been drafted in our thing today. But Angel, and I'll say this about Angels in the Outfield, it's rightfully seated, I think. But it was a delightful movie. It was a nice movie. It's a really good family movie. I remember watching this because I really liked it. I thought it was a really nice movie. But Field of Dreams is just, it's going to take it to the woodshed. It just is.
Yeah, from a spiritual standpoint, yeah, Field of Dreams, no contest. I mean, even Major League Baseball is going to the extreme of holding a baseball game out on that field now. I mean, it's just it's remarkable in my opinion. I mean, over 30 years probably.
Yeah.
When did that come out, Justin?
89. So yeah, 32 years.
I mean, the impact it's made 32 years later on Major League Baseball.
Right.
And Field of Dreams is one of those movies, and that's why it's like we could, like Brett, we could talk about that. There's things that are like maybe the dots don't quite connect on certain things in the movie, but it's almost like this is one where it's not even. You're doing kind of the movie an injustice to talk about that, because this movie I think it's a kind of a deeply personal movie to anybody who watches it. You're going to feel something different, and it touches on a lot of things, including the father-son relationship really being the central theme. And I think it's like it therefore it gives it makes it's very personal, and it's very hard to watch the movie without kind of pulling your own life experiences into it. So it means something different to everybody who watches it. And I think that in and of itself is pretty unique and amazing.
I mean, even when you think about just some of the characters in the movie, obviously Kevin Costner's a star, but James Earl Jones was just phenomenal. Like, I think the interactions between the characters was great. Like I said, even holes aside, because honestly, I don't even think it matters about the holes. I think to me, even there's so many iconic parts of the movie that were so great, but I still, every time I come back to it, there's two. It's every time they would say build it and they will come, and then the end of the movie when you have car after car after car pulling up to come see them play.
Yeah.
And it was so striking at the end. It's like that will always resonate with me, and I think anyone who watches it, it's going to resonate with them too. Like that, those are the parts that are going to stick out. It's like it was a perfect ending to the movie. And
baseball's probably going to do that with the cars coming to the stadium if they get to hold this baseball game.
Yeah, that's a good.
I hope they do. I hope they do. I hope they play into that completely. And I just run with it. I don't care how cheesy it may seem, but I think it's such a big part of the whole thing. You got to do it.
And I think too, and a real quick plug, because I know I was quick to dismiss Barbara Hershey when we were talking about Hoosiers, but props to Amy Madigan in this movie for being maybe on the complete opposite of the Hershey side as far as supportive.
She was.
Significant others. I mean, they're about to lose their farm. Like, why the hell are you building a baseball field? I don't understand what you're doing. But ultimately, it's kind of that it was a beautiful thing to kind of see her. I don't know where you're going with this, but I love you and I support you. And I'm going to, even though my brother, for some reason, is trying to steal our farm, but that's a whole other side note.
Next to, and I'm drawing a blank on her name. I tend to do this, draw blanks on names, but the owner of the Indians in Major League, next to her, Rachel Phelps, yeah. The biggest asshole is his brother-in-law. Like, horrible. He is just an awful human being.
And he almost kills his kills his niece.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Like,
Rachel, I mean, on to me, it's a neck and neck tie to the finish line on biggest
yeah,
pieces
yeah.
of shit that you can get in these movies.
Well,
Wait, wasn't he also wasn't he a player in Little Big League?
he was the
Yeah,
first.
that's
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, he
That's right. He was.
was.
More reason to hate that movie.
Real my favorite scene from the movie though, and it's something you see over and over, is James Earl Jones' speech about baseball and just
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
He's
you
made two significant parts in baseball movies.
He has actually. I mean, he's just iconic as it is. I'm not even gonna get started on James Earl Jones. He's Greg's Kevin Costner to me.
I mean, the voice. It's. I mean, he's
Yeah.
he's Mount Rushmore of voices. You know, you
Yeah.
put Morgan Freeman on it, and then you can argue the other two, but it's one of the most iconic voices. And I think even if you don't understand, and we've talked about this off air too, like even if you don't quite understand, like why is Terrence Mann like in this movie? Well, Terrence Mann is in this movie because James Earl Jones needed to be in this movie, and dynamic between him and Costner is incredible.
Yeah.
Like when he drops him off and says, "Hey, like I'm sorry, like this was a mistake, and thanks,
Yeah.
sorry for ruining your day," and then he's standing in front of the car and he's like Moonlight Graham in that voice. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This guy.
I was gonna say that first meeting they had when they first met, and it was like that just so awkward interaction, and like that that series of scenes was so good.
Yeah,
no doubt. So that rounds out our bracket. So I want to show everybody one more time the matchups, and we will have these on our Facebook and Twitter and maybe even Instagram stories. But actually, we have we'll have a Google form out for you to vote on. So best thing you can do for us is vote and then share that out. That helps give us a lot of votes. And as we've seen, we've actually had one tie in two different brackets. There's been a lot of blowouts in the first round, but we had a tie in our football bracket and we had a tie in our other sports region in two different movies. So it shows like one vote can change the difference. All right, real quick, I want to do like two more segments. I don't want to take up too much of your guys' the rest of your day, but I want to do two more things. First thing I want to do is show you a quick little scene here, and this is a classic, so you guys can talk over it if you want, but non-baseball movie with a great baseball scene.
Up home plate is so funny too.
To me, that is my favorite baseball scene in any movie of all time.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that one bit. I would probably agree with you 100%.
The only other kind of movie that is favorite for me that has it's a great movie. It's not a baseball movie at all. The Ferris Bueller's Day Off. When he's somehow in Wrigley Field and he catches the
Broke my thumb.
exactly. Ooh.
I think my other favorite one was from The Sandlot with when he was getting mouth to mouth from Wendy.
Oh yeah.
Is it
yeah.
peppercorn or peppercorn?
I think it's peppercorn.
Yeah. So yeah, when he was getting mouth to mouth, I think that's a close two for me. But yeah.
Oh, somebody's banging some pans in the back.
Oh yeah, sorry, she's putting dishes away. My apologies.
All right. And I meant to get to this, but we just didn't. But Greg had a great idea for a segment, and I'd like to kind of maybe close with that. I'm actually going to save those other movie mashups for next week when the movies advance. But let's real quick close out with fictional actor comparisons to real Major League Baseball players. So how about I'll just say a name, and then you guys, if you have one, you might not even have one, but if you have a comparison, to go ahead and do that. So let's start with Charlie Sheen as Ricky Vaughn. Anybody got a Major League comparison for him?
Oh, I'm drawing a blank on him. He was the
The Wild Thing Vaughn, yeah.
yeah, he was no, it was the
Oh.
Atlanta Braves closer there for a bit.
John Rocker.
Yep, John Rocker. He's with the
Yeah.
Indians there for a second too, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who. I mean, just that crazy, off the wall kind of mindset.
And
I was gonna say, if you're gonna use him as a closer, I would say John Wetland also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember a guy named Troy Percival?
Oh,
Yes.
Troy.
He
Yeah.
he used to squint when he was looking in for the sign. That's who I think of.
and the two that I think of, Mitch Williams was actually the closer, and they actually called him Wild Thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The closer right now for the Indians, James Karinchak, he took the number 9 even in honor of Ricky Vaughn. So
Nice.
all right, how about Willie Mays Hayes?
So
Kenny Lock.
yeah, I was yeah. You got it.
Kenny Lofton?
I thought he was Kenny. I thought he was like he
That-
could beat Kenny Lofton. If Kenny Lofton got hurt, they could just plug Wesley Snipes in and
Yeah. Kenny was the one that came to my head, but I don't want to be like show that bias of the Indians, but it's gonna happen. It's just
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, okay. What about Ricky Henderson?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like a little bit outspoken.
Or Marquise Grissom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Pedro Serrano.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
Frank Thomas.
Yeah, that's so funny that of all the people, like we're all like I was kind of thinking that line. That's a good one. Yeah, just an imposing figure, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Trying to think of the imposing figure that just was kind of
Yeah.
great, but like obviously
Yeah.
had some things that he could work on, and yeah, I think they kind of related.
Okay.
This might be a stretch, but Barry Bonds later in his career
Yeah.
The big.
from a size.
Pedro didn't take steroids. Let's be very real.
He ate a lot of chicken. You know,
KFC specifically.
this is
But
really
Barry Bonds can hit a curveball though. But yeah, that's a good one.
this is really weird. I actually looked this up though, but a lot of people compare Pedro Serrano, not necessarily the player, but his quirkiness and ritualness to Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs had a literal ritual before every game. Like he would eat fried chicken before every game.
Yeah, that's right. I remember hearing that.
Did Pedro Serrano ever drink 64 cans on a cross country flight?
Gave Joe Boo a lot of rum. So that's the one that I saw somebody else throw out, and I said I thought that was pretty good. Just like a weird.
That is I mean, obviously there's similarities there. So that, like, I think, yeah, from a weird connection point, yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Okay. How about Roger Dorn? I feel like baseball players now don't look like players that were cast in that movie then.
Yeah, I would honestly, I mean, I'm going back to an Indians thing, but obviously he was with Arizona for a little bit too, but the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
Williams.
Williams.
That's who I kind of like relate to that. Like he had, he could hit. He was a, decent third baseman. I think Matt Williams probably fielded the ball a little bit better, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the struggle. Like a guy that's kind of like a prima donna and can't field very well and doesn't want to, get down in front of a hard ground ball. I can't think of one for Dorn.
Honestly, for me, I go to the Indians too. Travis Fryman.
Ooh,
Yeah.
That's a nice one there.
Kind of like doesn't look like a great athlete, but probably is.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Ed Harris. Eddie Harris.
Oh man.
I mean, it's kind of like you gotta kind of you're kind of like in the Jamie Moyer territory, right? Of just like a junk baller. I guess I'll say Moyer.
Okay.
I you know what? I know he's not a pitcher or a starting pitcher, but I'm drawing a blank on first name because it's been a long time. But wasn't it Ossenmacher?
Paul Austin.
Yeah,
Paul Ossenmacher, that really rough looking dude. That's what Harris has always kind of reminded me of.
yeah.
And normally you
I'll
go ahead,
I'll
Edgar.
say that, and I know Bruce will like this one. Jeff D'Amico.
Jeff D'Amico.
Well done, Ed. That's well done.
I guess one just popped into Josh Tom. I always think of Josh Tomlin now these days. Like that guy's throwing 82 like on a good day.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like a really poor man's Greg Maddux. Oh my.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to a legend here, Roy Hobbs. Greg, we had talked about this off air, but
you fire yours first because this is a great one.
Mine's Russell Branyan. Any Indians fan, probably like the mid to late 90s would know this guy. This guy had so much hype coming up. He could hit the ball 500 feet. I think Edgar called him a poor man's Jim Thome, but he was literally all or nothing. I remember.
I called him that.
Yeah. But I remember him hitting like a 520-foot home run at Yankee Stadium. He was probably 21 years old. And but then, he probably, I think Greg said he finished his career with a 190 batting average. So this guy was literally all or nothing. That's my comparison.
Who do you got, Greg?
I got two, and I'm interested because they're all right. So I'm just gonna fire them away. Josh Hamilton is one of them.
Yep.
He's probably the most powerful hitter I've ever seen, and he had he had the kind of the mystery and off the field type stuff that you didn't know with Hobbs. You didn't know kind of what happened earlier in his career. But if you want to go to the most literal comparison right now, hard throwing left-handed pitcher turned great hitter, Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, Ohtani.
Yeah. So
interesting.
All right.
Ed, you got one? I'll wait. I'll hold off on mine.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say just because of his swing. Actually, there's one of the things that we talked about off the air, like his natural swing, and it reminds me of Griffey.
Yeah.
Just that pure, like Griffey, in my view, had the most perfect swing I have ever seen.
Yep.
After you're done, Franklin.
So I like to him. I think with Hobbs, I think that's where I kind of relate to him too. It's not purely about the power; it's just a beautiful swing.
Okay. All right, very good. Go ahead.
Mine is Travis Hafner.
All right. Yeah, I could see that.
Just from a power perspective, he didn't have the most pure swing like say Ken Griffey Jr., but the guy had a lot of power.
Okay.
And
was it enhanced by something? Because I think it may have been enhanced by something.
Or you could say, all right, well, how about Rafael Palmeiro? Because I thought he had a sweet swing growing up too.
No, I'm just messing with you. Because I think what was Hafner had a place over in right field, didn't he? Like they named it Hafner something. I forget what it was.
His nickname was also Pronk.
Yeah, or maybe it was like
Pronk's place or something.
Yeah, something like that. And so I mean Hafner had a really nice. I think he had a good 4 or 5 year stint there. Where he was seeing everything really well. It may have, like I said, it may have coincided with more testing being done, so that's why I kind of joked around with it. But he his little stint there, you're right. Like it was he had really good power, but he was just a good hitter in general.
Yeah.
Hey, back to Pedro Serrano real quick, and one more player, Julio Franco.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good one.
With the unorthodox, I'm just going from the unorthodox batting stance with the quirkiness.
Look, I mean, Pedro Serrano was in Major League 3 back to the minors, so he kind of spanned the same career length as Julio Franco.
That's true, Franklin.
All right, let's just do a couple more here before we close out. How about yeah, I guess I skipped him in the first time, but how about Jake Taylor?
So Jake Taylor looks, if you look at a picture of older Carlton Fisk, like they look almost exactly alike, Tom Berenger and old Fisk. But I mean, obviously Fisk was much better catcher, but I'll say a really aged Carlton Fisk.
Okay.
I'm gonna say a poor man's Rafael Perez.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Well, I mean, Perez has some power to him, but he doesn't hit well. And Jake Taylor didn't hit well. He was not a good hitter by any means. So I think, but he was a decent catcher. Like, yeah, I think he got better as the movie went on because and Perez is a great defender. So I think that's probably where he falls.
Okay. All right.
Probably Yadier Molina.
Ooh.
Is he that good?
I think that's high praise for Jake Taylor.
I was gonna say you take that and run with it. That's
I would
Hall of
with that
Famer,
all
man.
day.
That's good though.
I was gonna say Jake Taylor, at least at the point we see him in Major League, pretty much any catcher in the league outside of the top 10, they're kind of all almost.
They're all the same. It goes to my point from earlier. Like we had a lot of good catchers in our draft today, and that's not common.
Right. Okay, and let's do 2 more. Clue Haywood.
Boy.
I'm gonna
because I feel like he's out of the mold. Like there were a lot of guys like that in the 80s.
Yes.
I'm blanking on him right now.
I'm gonna go with a guy from the Minnesota Twins that used to eat up the Indians, Kent Herbeck.
That's a good one.
Wow, that's a really good
Big
one.
dude, yeah.
That's a really good one. I wouldn't have thought about that. Man, I'm trying to think of that. Just kind
Does
of.
it have to be first baseman?
No.
No.
All right, John Kruk.
Yeah.
Okay. The big.
Which Henry Rollingard, nemesis, the rookie of the year, looks exactly like John Kruk.
like a completely psychotic John Kruk. Yeah.
When he has his helmet backward going against the All-Star game.
I think in terms of personality, I actually may go Albert Bell.
Oh,
Like just kind of a asshole.
How's your wife with my kids?
Yeah, like I would think Albert Bell would have said something like that. Like no doubt. I don't have any doubt in my head that he would have done that.
all right, very good. And the last one, Benny the Jet Rodriguez.
Boy.
Man, that's a tough one.
I feel like he probably would have been like he's not, it's hard to compare anybody to Trout, but I feel like he could have kind of been the total package type of guy.
Yeah, that I guess
maybe Mookie Betts.
Like I guess in that question, are we talking about Benny the Jet when he was a young kid playing the Sandlot in the best of the best there, or when he was a pinch runner for the Los Angeles Dodgers? Like I guess that's the question where we're trying to go.
I'll leave that one to you.
That's man. Yeah, if we're going young, I'm with Greg on this one, and I'd go Trout. He was that 5-tool guy out on the Sandlot.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go with Henry Rodriguez. There was a Henry Rodriguez that played in the major leagues.
Yeah. I believe
he played for the Expos.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Why not?
No, that's good. I'm gonna go with oh man. I feel like he'd be like an early Andrew McCutchen type player. Like he could play everywhere. He'd be a good player, a good 5-tool player. Maybe an early Grady Sizemore. Maybe a Kirby Puckett type player. So that's the route I'm gonna go.
Maybe he was like a Grady Sizemore, and the injuries like Grady got to him, and then he was left to pinch running. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would. Yeah, those are good ones.
Okay. All right. Well, a lot to unpack there with all these, matchups and probably one of our longer podcasts with all these matchups. But good job, everybody. Great information. I'm going to put the link under this. I'll put the voting out for next week, and then we will also have our other sports movie podcast. Now we have 16 teams in that. We'll do that. That will air on Thursday. So Greg, Brett, Edgar, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see everybody on Thursday. Okay, we are back for our second segment now. We're going to do some movie mashups. Okay, we are back for our second segment now. We're going to do some movie mashups. We are going to show you our bracket. We'll talk about our bracket. We have a bunch of different things we're going to talk about too. Movies that. All right, hi guys, Justin Coffin from the 330 Sports Show. We're going to do our baseball region here of our movies sequence. We're recording this on Sunday, but this show is going to air Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. So again, bringing back our panel. We got Edgar Mosco up there. We got Greg Kirchner, Jim Bennett, and Brett Franklin. So we are going to do like I said, our baseball region. And before we get into it, we really like the football fictional draft that we did with our football movies. So we decided, I think honestly, there's just as many baseball movies that you can do that with. So we talked about it and we decided to do that for baseball as well. So I'm going to moderate. So we're going to have Edgar, Greg, Jim, and Brett make the selections. So they're each going to draft 5 players. Or 5 people, I should say. They're going to take 3 positional players. So either a catcher, infielder, outfielder, any combination of those 3. They're going to take 1 pitcher and they're going to take 1 coach, and they can take those in any order. It doesn't matter. We're going to do a snake draft. We're going to have 5 rounds where Jim's going to go first, then Brett, then Edgar, then Greg, and then reversed on the way back. So you guys good with that? You ready to get started?
Yep. Let's do it.
All right, let's go. And again, we said fictional players. If any thing needs moderated or decided, we can decide as a group on the way through. So with that said, Jim, you have the first pick of the fictional baseball draft. So what are you going to do?
We can get the little music going. All right. So with the first pick, I will take Roy Hobbs from The Natural. Plug him into the cleanup spot.
Did he have a position he played, or was he a DH?
He was right field.
Right. Okay. All right. Very good. Hard to go against that pick. All right, Franklin, you are up for pick number 2.
Little side, wasn't Roy Hobbs a pitcher to start? Is that?
He was. He came up a pitcher.
Yeah, he came up as a pitcher, then he got shot, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
By
Anyway,
our favorite female
Hershey
sportsman.
Oh wait,
we'll get to her.
If I get Roy Hobbs, do I get Bobby the Bat Boy with them too?
I think you have to. Yeah. I think you get Wonder Boy and the Savoy Special in your bat bag too. So you're pretty.
I'll take all of it.
it's why he was number 1 on my list too. It's a good pick there, Jimmy.
Thank you.
With my pick, I'm going Stevie Nebraska.
All right. Is that
Perfect game in game 1 of the World Series? Yeah.
Comes in on a helicopter. Played by Brendan Fraser, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
And I know he was a pitcher, but I believe he could bat as well. He was a really good hitter in the movie, if I'm not mistaken. But so you're drafting him.
I'm drafting as a pitcher.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right, Mr. Mosco, you are up for pick number 3, sir.
This is a tough pick for me.
You've only had like days to prepare, Edgar.
I know, Bennett. I'm gonna take Clue Haywood.
Love it. And
That's a great pick, Ed. Great pick.
Yeah.
first baseman, New York Yankees. Edgar, Greg and I were talking the other day. I had no idea about this, but Clu Haywood, the actor that plays him, was a Major League Baseball pitcher and actually won the Cy Young Award in 1982 for the Milwaukee Brewers.
No way.
Really?
Yeah, so a little fun fact there. So that's a great pick. He also leads the league in nose hairs, I believe.
Did you just steal Greg's tidbit? Because he's the tidbit master on
No,
this.
we pre-cleared that tidbit. That was actually Justin's tidbit. I had no idea.
Stealing one from you later, I'm hoping.
Greg's gonna have a lot more than me in the baseball realm, that's for sure. So Greg is up for the fourth pick overall, and basically Greg has back-to-back picks here.
Okay, well, this is tough. I guess I have to. I wish I could take two pitchers here, but I have to take Billy Chappell because I mean that's my boy from for the last game.
That's your only Kevin Costner pick you're allowed to make.
Yeah, that's my only Costner we'll go with, but yeah, give me Billy Chappell.
You got to go with the battery mate too. That would be all time.
That is, if Gus doesn't catch, then Billy doesn't pitch. That's the problem. But I can't.
John C. Riley.
Sorry,
we
I'm not
talked
supposed
about him recently.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to name drop. I'm
Sorry.
gonna actually stay with for the game, and I'm gonna go a little bit off the radar. I'm gonna take Davis Birch for the New York Yankees, Billy Chappell's former teammate. I forget. I need to go back to the movie to where they flash his stats, but he's a 30+ home run guy, and that was late in his career. So I want Chappell and Birch, but I want them kind of in the prime of their careers, and I think that'll be a formidable duo.
What position was Davis Birch?
He was outfield somewhere. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right, Edgar, you are up for your second pick.
I'm gonna stay with the same movie and pick Jack Parkman.
Nice. Very nice. Catcher for the okay, so help me out with this. Where did he come from before he was with the Indians in that movie?
Yeah, I believe the Oakland Athletics.
Oakland Athletics, then with the Indians, and they traded him to the White Sox.
Yeah.
Okay.
They traded play without asking.
Very good. All right. Nice pick. Mr. Bennett, you are up for the final pick.
No,
No, don't skip
me.
Franklin.
Oh, sorry, Franklin.
I'm going Stan Ross, Mr. 3000.
Oh, okay. Is that Bernie Mac's character?
Yes, it is.
All right, and he was an outfielder, if I remember correctly.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. All right, Stan Ross, Mr. 3000. Very good.
And he's got the ins to the Bellagio. So if I need to put a team together to steal some shit, he's right there.
That is true.
Very nice. All right. Now, Mr. Bennett, I'm sorry about that, Franklin.
All right.
Bennett, you are up.
For two.
Yeah, you got two picks coming up.
All right, this is tough, but first one we'll go with Benny the Jet from the Sandlot.
Nice one.
Good pick.
So we got Hobbs batting cleanup. Benny the Jet will be leading off with some speed here. There's so many good position players left, so I'm gonna wait on that, but we'll go. But this is a tough call between. I'm gonna take my coach now, and it's between two, and I'm gonna go Jimmy Dugan. Avoid the clap. Jimmy Dugan.
Damn it, Bennett.
I had this ready for that. Like I was.
Oh man.
I mean, there's other options, but
Nice pick.
got
Nice
some
pick.
good leadership there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he hit a couple home runs in the World Series, 2 in Game 3 alone. Back for. Do you know? Was he based off of Jimmy Fox's real life character? I want to say he was
Sure on that. I'm not sure on that, but It seems plausible because he had like over 500 home runs in his career.
Right.
Um,
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. All right. Mr. Franklin, you are up for your third round pick.
Yeah, so I was thinking along the lines of Bennett too. There's a lot of position players out there that I like still. So I was gonna venture into the coaches, and I'm assuming is his other one. I'm gonna go Lou Brown.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
I
hard.
want that, rough but funny coach.
Yeah.
Probably the most believable manager, like that you could, in any of these movies. There's some good ones, but man, he looks like he could do it. And yeah.
The scene in the hospital is that's just phenomenal.
Love that British shit.
What would Lou Brown say about like the analytics era of baseball? Because I feel like this guy was like all about the hunch. I got a hunch. Now it's like somebody handed him and was like, well, you probably don't want to pinch hit here for Dorn because there's WAR. The guy you want to bring off the bench is WAR's too low. You probably would have pissed on it like you did on.
I mean, is Lou Brown like the baseball equivalent of Ed or? I mean,
yeah,
like down to
That
earth,
real raspy
well,
smoker voice.
yeah. I mean, the voice, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would say so.
No, he's a legend.
All right. So we got
Good pick, Franklin.
back managers, Jimmy Dugan and Lou Brown off the board. So Edgar, you are up for your third pick. You got Clu Haywood and Parkman.
I'm gonna stay with the position players and go with a little bit more power and take Dottie Henson.
That's
Nice.
Nice.
great pick.
Now, question: Can she classify as a manager too when Jimmy Dugan is out drunk?
She's got the leadership qualities, no doubt.
Yeah, she has high baseball IQ, so I don't see why not. I like it. So Edgar, you got two catchers on your roster and the first baseman, so you're going for more power over speed here.
We'll talk about this afterwards, but I have it's funny looking at the players that like we're kind of picking from and how it is the exact opposite of typical fantasy baseball draft.
Right.
Like catchers, there's a lot of catchers, but we'll get into that after this.
Yeah.
I think Parkman's gonna like Dottie coming in and trying to steal his job though.
He's requesting a trade already.
Exactly. Gonna be some trouble in the clubhouse. All right, Greg, you are up for the final pick of the third round here.
All right, I'm gonna go position player, and I'm gonna go with Willie Mays Hayes. Even though, as we talked about, maybe Wesley Snipes wasn't the world's greatest athlete, but Willie Mays Hayes probably stole about 70 bases. So I'll take that that speed at the top of the order.
Yeah, and you know how we talk about montages too. I think a great montage in Major League is when he's stealing all those bases and then hammering all the gloves up on the wall there. That's a great montage. All right,
take my first steps towards the Hall of
Fame. It's gonna be hard.
I guess I get another one.
You got your shoes tied. All right, Greg, you are up.
So I'm gonna do the same. I really thought one of those managers would be there when it came to me, so I'm getting a little nervous on that. So I'm going to take Pop Fisher.
All right.
Who is kind of the other, like, this guy could absolutely have been a manager, but he also wanted to be a farmer, and he should have been a farmer, like he always said.
Okay. Is that what's his
Wilford Brimley?
Yeah. Diabetes.
Yeah. When he's not doing the was it Colonial Penn?
Yeah.
Yes, he did Colonial Penn for a while too.
Oh, that's a good one. Good.
He pulls off. I think I remember seeing this here. Here's really a fun fact. I think he's only about 50 years old in the natural, but he plays like he's like believable that he'd be like 75 years old in that movie. Yeah. I feel like he was like he had that look for like adult life.
Well, I mean, we're gonna go another episode where it's another person who was in Seinfeld as Postmaster General.
That's correct. That's right.
Good name. Yeah, good drop
He
there.
reminds me of Charlie Manuel a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Charlie Manuel looked like he was 80 when he was about 50, I'm sure.
I mean,
Yes.
all he needs to do is grow a beard.
Yeah.
True. That's true. All right, Mr. Moscow, you are up for the 14th overall selection. You're
All right. So with all the what do I want to say? Shit, I forgot. Whatever. But personalities on my team, I'm gonna go with Morris Buttermaker as my coach.
Well done there. I put 4 coaches down on my list, and all 4 of them were taken.
well, a good. I mean, with all those personalities in your clubhouse, Moscow too, it's probably good to have a coach that can straight up drink during the game on the bench. So
Exactly. Right here.
it might you know, not, it might be frowned upon drinking in front of children at a little league game nowadays, but you know,
Yeah.
back then it was par for the course, it seemed like. So all right, very good.
Yep.
With Morris Buttermaker. All right, Franklin, you are up for your 4th selection.
Yeah, I think I need some power, so we're going Pedro Serrano.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I actually just realized this. I didn't know that. That was played by Dennis Haysbert.
Yep.
I had no idea. When I was looking stuff up the other day, I just ran across him. Like even looking at him, like it looks nothing like we know of him now.
Right.
There.
Yeah, exactly. Every time I think of him,
It doesn't seem
oh no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, but he looks different now, but he doesn't look like 30. He doesn't look 30 years older than he did in that movie, which is
No.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
holding up pretty well for sure.
Yeah, I always get confused too. Is it State Farm or Allstate? That he's
Allstate.
Allstate.
yeah.
All right. Nice. All right. Jim, you are going to round out the 4th round here. So actually, you're going to finish your draft here. So
Right.
you're going to go 4th, end of the 4th round, start of the 5th round.
All right. So I'm going to drop some names considering I can't pick all these people. I just want to throw out a few names I had on the list. I'm gonna take Crash Davis.
Nice.
Bennett, I was actually looking at him next too. That's a good pick.
I mean, Jake Taylor still up out there. Still got Gusinski. Marla Hooch is available. I actually wanted to make Marla Hooch my last position player, but that didn't.
Jim loves the hooch.
And then Squints Polidorus is still out there for you guys. So
Nice.
just
He's
throwing
just a
that out
legend
there.
in his own right. Yeah.
Do need a pitcher, and I got 2 left on my big board, and I'm not real sure where to go with it. I feel like I need a major league player on my team, but I don't know. I'll go with the youth movement. We'll go with Henry Rowan-Gardner.
Nice.
Nice.
That was a good one, Bennett.
I love it. Okay. Later to star in American Pie as well.
Yep.
And actually, Jim, if I got to pick a character that reminds me of anybody, and it's Kevin from American Pie that reminds me of you.
Thank you.
No, I mean, it was a compliment. He's always the one that like wants to get them together and be like, guys, here's to the, like, cheers to the memories. I feel like he brings them together as a group. Like
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
All right, so good pick.
Glue guy.
All right, we got Brett up next to close out his draft.
All right. I'm having a little fun with this one. Well, I guess maybe not fun, but it's going to be pretty awesome. Thelonious Myrtle.
Oh, you're gonna have to help me with that one.
James Earl Jones in The Sandlot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, mean old Mr. Myrtle.
Yeah. I was hoping to stump some people there. I didn't think I'd get Greg, though.
So
You
you're
stumped
gonna.
me.
So Hercules comes along with him.
obvious.
Yeah, well,
We're pet friendly. We are pet friendly.
very nice. That's a really off the board pick. I like that. That's a very good pick. Now he was friends with George. He says in the movie, I believe at the end there, George.
Yeah.
Who? George Herman Ruth? He was almost as good as me too. No, that's a great. Love it.
I hope he brings a signed baseball collection.
He used to crowd the plate, which made pitchers pissed off.
I love it. Okay, Edgar, you are up for your final pick.
All right, so I need a pitcher here, and who better than to another crafty veteran, but not the one you're thinking of, Chet the
Harris.
Rock Stedman.
Oh,
Not going with Harris.
I thought he'd go with Harris. I thought when he said crafty veteran, I thought Harris too.
But
I
not
thought
the
you were
one.
definitely going Wild Thing, but
Yeah.
okay. So was his character too? You guys can help me on this one. Was he portrayed after Roger Clemens with the nickname the Rocket?
That's a good guess.
That's a good guess. I don't know. If he was, he wasn't a very believable Roger Clemens. One of those guys that looked like he was throwing about 36 miles an hour. But I know he was like washed up.
Okay. All right.
It's interesting.
And Greg, you're gonna close out the draft here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm just, side note, completely shocked that nobody took Vaughn.
Yeah.
yes.
Like, I mean,
I was between
I
Vaughn
can't-
and Rowan Gardner.
it's hard. Yeah, I'm just more of just a shock. I can't believe that. And nobody took Ebby Calvin, Nuke Lelouch either. But I guess I can't. I gotta take a position player. So we talked about this before we got on the air. But I'm gonna go with the Whammer from The Natural, based after Babe Ruth, played by Joe Don Baker.
Joe Don Baker.
Struck
The
out.
infamous Joe Don Baker.
Yeah, and it's like Bennett, you couldn't have taken him because Hobbs struck him out, and I just don't think that dynamic would have worked in the clubhouse. So I took him instead, I guess. So
Okay.
yeah, the Whammer.
All right. Very good.
Whammer.
Very good. I like it. All right. So let me tell you what I'm going to do. I shared this with a couple of you guys. Jim, I know you got to go soon, but I just want to get your thoughts on this for a second here. So I put this list together this week, and here's my kind of all-star team. I want you guys, let's just go through it, and I want you guys to maybe say what you would change, say what you like, say what you don't like. So can you guys see the screen all right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So my, you can see where they're playing, but I'm just going to go through my starters and see what you guys think. So I got Willie Hayes out in center field. I got Benny the Jet playing shortstop. Roy Hobbs. I put Roy Hobbs as my DH.
Smart.
I got Clu Haywood batting fourth. Jack Parkman behind the plate. Stan Ross out in left field. Kelly Leak from the Bad News Bears, who played center field in the movie, but I figure Willie Mays Hayes could, cover a little bit more ground. So I put Kelly Leak as the more youthful up and comer out and right. Ray Mitchell is from Angels in the outfield. And I don't remember a ton about him, but I remember he had like some nice stat lines, and he was kind of a pretty popular player. And then who's the boss, man? I got Tony Maselli at second base. So that's my starters. My reserves, I have Dottie Hinkle behind the plate. And actually I got 3 catchers. So like in Major League 2, decided to go with 3 catchers on the roster. So Dottie Hinkle and Crash Davis. Got Lou Collins, who was in Little Big League, as my backup first baseman. And I got Pedro, and then Bobby Rayburn in the outfield. Bobby Rayburn was played well by Wesley Snipes in The Fan. And then Roger Dorn.
I had him on my list. Yeah.
Oh, and we.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. And I was just gonna say, and we had talked too about how Wesley Snipes not the most dynamic actually athlete, but in these movies he portrays them very well. So whatever the director producers are doing, they portray him well. And then Roger Dorn, I kind of just threw him on there because if he starts learning to field those ground balls, I think he could be a serviceable player on the team. And then
Well, he still hits the ball pretty well, and I think you can bring him in as a pinch hitter. He may even make one for the team. So I just think you got to keep him out of the field. So he's worth a roster spot. I'm with you on that.
any changes you guys would make from my position players here?
I think it kind of goes with what I was talking about before, though. Like with you have 3 catchers. I mean, they're catchers. They're kind of deep in this thing. Like there's a lot of good ones. Which in terms of the fantasy world, there's like never any. Like you're really scrapping. I had one on my list though that I believe he was first base. I forget for sure, but Jack Elliott from Mr. Baseball.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Played by Tom Selleck.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And if I remember correctly, it's been forever since I saw that movie, but I believe he was a pretty solid player. I think when they kind of redid when he went back into his career and he did things the right way, he was a pretty solid player. So he'd be someone I would consider. I don't know if I'd switch him out or not, but he'd be someone I'd consider.
Okay. All right, let's go through the pitching staff I got here, and then you guys tell me again if you would make any changes from this. So Steve Nebraska up there, Billy Chappell, Ebby Calvin Nuke Lelouch from Bull Durham, Eddie Harris. I might put Eddie Harris in the bullpen, not quite start him. And I put Ricky Vaughn as a relief pitcher, although he was a starter. Henry Rowan Gardner. I got Willie the Duke Mueller from, the guy throws at his own kid in a father-son game. You've never seen the show Eastbound and Down. Kenny Powers is a great character.
He's one of the all-time great characters on TV, I think.
Ryan Dunn from Summer Catch.
Yeah.
Another crafty lefty there. Chet the Rocket Stedman. And then Sam Mayday Malone. I actually looked that up. I forgot he played a pitcher before he ran the at Cheers. So
yeah, he played Boston
pretty
Red
good
Sox.
list.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, the pitching list is great. I love the pitching list. There's not anything I would change with that at all.
Okay. All right. And I think to go back to Franklin's point, like movies, you're going to have your impact players, but like pitchers, catchers, and managers are kind of the ones that kind of get the spotlight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got your battery of pitcher and catcher a lot, and then the manager is going to make a lot of the decisions. So I think that's a good point. Like a lot of the outfielders might get like might be like the star player on the team, but the pitcher and the catchers are kind of the most important, the way the movie portrays it. And then
I just saw the play-by-play and umpire.
Yeah. And I had the same reaction. I didn't see that originally when I looked at this photo the other day, but like as soon as I saw, I was like, oh my God, I just caught that.
Well done.
Well, we'll go through these too real quick. So the team beat reporter Terrence Mann from Field of Dreams, hard to argue with. Team doctor Moonlight Graham, whether he's dead or alive. I mean, that guy went. And then play-by-play Bob Uecker, who, believe it or not, when he was cast in Major League, they had no the guy that cast him. I don't know if it was the producer or whoever, did not know he was a play-by-play for the Milwaukee Brewers. So he just lucked into that role, as far as I know. And then
I might drop in, Justin.
it's really starting to pay off. And then the umpire, to me, there's no better baseball scene in any movie than the Naked Gun, the first Naked Gun, when Leslie Nielsen's the home plate umpire. So, and I think it was one of you guys, or might have even been Bruce, that said it, was, if you're going with your national anthem singer, Enrico Palazzo, well, also
You have to.
Nielsen.
No doubt.
And then finally, the manager and the coaches. So I put Lou Brown as number one. Morris Buttermaker as the first base coach, although I probably should have made him my bench coach because he's sitting there drinking a beer half the movie. Jimmy Dogan got to be the hitting coach with his background here. Pitching coach Phil Brickma, also from Rookie of the Year, played by Daniel Stern.
Daniel Stern, yep.
Hey, here's a tidbit for you. Did you guys know Daniel Stern directed Rookie of the Year?
Oh,
Oh,
I did
no.
not know that.
Ed dropped the knowledge. Love it.
okay.
Can we on Rookie of the Year and Little Big League and how they are literally the exact same movie, and I don't understand what happened there. It's the same movie.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
I've seen both on TV in the last couple. It's like even the subplots are the same. Like the mom starts dating one of the players. Like the kids, the you know, whether it's Henry or Billy in the movie, like he has trouble with his friends because he starts ditching his friends and all that. It's literally the same movie, and I don't understand what happened or how that worked. Or they're directed by different people. They're starring a lot of different people, but it's literally just the same movie. It's almost like they came up with the same idea.
yeah. I mean, that's not an uncommon thing though in the movie business. If you actually think about it, even because while this happened a little bit before that, but the movies Ants and A Bug Life, they're the same exact movie as well.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's just, you know, someone had an idea for something, they whatever they did with it, but then I imagine they just two different companies ran with it.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah, that's
interesting.
and we'll get to the bracket here in a minute, but yeah, those are some good points. But when we start talking about the movies here, I want to kind of go a little bit in depth with the years they're made, and you're going to kind of see some trends as well. So Jim, are you good to stick around, or you got to go?
Yeah, I got to go, but just if I could take a minute here to go through. I mean, I'm pretty much all chalk. You know, the brackets. I think they're pretty well ranked, although For Love of the Game is probably a little underrated here.
Greg agrees with you.
I think for the most part, I mean, the 8-9, you know, probably could go 42 over Moneyball, but otherwise, I think it's all chalk from there. I mean, are you going to put that out later in the year as far as votes?
Yeah,
So
this show will air on Tuesday. I'm going to put it out though after we film this. We're filming this on a Sunday, so I'll put it out. I'll put it out today.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll be sure to cast my votes, but enjoy the discussion, fellas.
All right, very good. We appreciate you joining us, Jimmy. We'll talk to you soon.
Later, buddy.
Thanks, fellas.
Good, Jim.
All right, so
Real quick, Justin, back to your list of coaches.
Yeah.
I'll keep Jimmy Dugan as a hitting coach, but third base coach has to be two.
Oh man.
Wait, I missed that. What did he say?
Like, yeah, that's for Major League. Is it Templeton?
Oh.
Is it like Templeton? Like, yeah.
I think his last name's Temple.
Or Temple.
All right, that's a good one. I like that.
That's a good.
solid.
Okay, that is a good one, Ed.
He's one
Nicely done.
is in the movie, but you don't really like hear about him besides like one or two scenes, like, you know, like a second or two. That would have been a good role for someone to just play a cameo in, I think.
Yeah.
As like kind of not an important character, but in a really important scene, he's flashing a sign to Wesley Snipes and Jake Taylor. So, all right, good stuff. All right, I'll tell you what, guys, I am going to we're going to take a break here and we're going to come back. Just give me 1 second and we will be right back.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. If you like our programming, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Facebook page, or subscribe to your favorite podcast platform like iTunes or Spotify. This is original Youngstown content, and we would appreciate you sharing the videos and the word about us. Thank you.